This guy in Padre uniform. Welcome to Gwynn and Chris, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Hope everybody's having a good holiday season out there. Starting off a full week of Gwynn and Chris. A little shorter show today because we do have Monday Night Football. The Bengals and the Cowboys will wrap up week number 14 of the National Football League. But, we got a lot of baseball to talk about. The baseball winter meetings are underway. Yes. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
And hi, Mr. Skraby.
Hello.
All right, what?
Nothing.
What are you already upset about?
You said hi, and he was saying hello.
I didn't hear much. I didn't
I've been
hear
pretty fiery all
any.
day.
I didn't hear any happiness in that hello.
There wasn't. That was very sad.
Yeah, I heard a hello.
Yeah, I woke
You sound
up
like you sound like you sound like the Alabama football team or something over
I
there.
thought you were going to say someone else.
I got to tell you, of all the things that happened this weekend, and there's about a million things that happened this weekend, but Alabama being hosed out of the NCAA college football tournament is kind of that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Can you go ahead and hit a round of applause to the college
yes,
football committee?
Thankfully because they really wanted to stick it to SMU and everybody else and get Alabama in, and
Everybody else certainly did.
They knew it was such a bad look that they just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They tried desperately everything they could try.
It was interesting to see that panel, the two former players kind of defend SMU in their inclusion in it, and seeing kind of Coach Saban having to defend the Alabama side of it. It was interesting, but I thought they eventually got it right.
It just showed that anything is possible in the world of love and war. Alabama will not be in the college football playoff. We'll get into all of that. Speaking of college, the Aztecs basketball moves up one whole place in the rankings to 23 at this rate.
We'll get no respect.
At this rate, we'll be number one in 2029. But, those rankings came out today. Of course, NFL will recap the weekend that was, but I think baseball for sure. And Roki Sasaki has been posted. Look, everyone you talk to says Dodgers or Padres. And I just hope the Dodgers, I know they have unlimited. I know it's unlimited, Tony. But I just hope that maybe one day they run out of roster spots. They obviously, they're bringing in, Conforto now, and they're bringing in Blake Snell, and, maybe they just let one slip away. No. They're not going to, huh?
First of all, I love that you're my partner because you're the only person besides myself that would be willing to start to show off with a Roki Sasaki story, right? Where, obviously the big story of the day is
who?
Is Juan Soto.
Oh yeah. Well, look,
that's already taken care of.
I'm not trying to ignore him, but he was never a possibility.
No,
here.
He wasn't.
So
he wasn't.
I'm trying to go to stuff that matters to us, honestly.
I I don't know. I don't feel.
You don't feel good about it, do you?
I'm not feeling great about it right now.
I know.
And it's solely based off of me reading too much stuff.
Probably.
I probably should just watch and see how it unfolds. I do know one of the participants personally that's involved in this, and he's tends to come out looking pretty well in these cases.
He has won a few of these. He's won a few of these.
So maybe I should just trust A.J. Preller and see how these chips fall.
Yeah, hope that
but I have to be honest, it doesn't feel great right now.
You're going up against the evil West Coast empire, as it were. But look, referring to Soto, the evil empire, the original evil empire,
did not get their man.
They got outbid, and I got to tell you, I'm surprised. I don't know. Did it really come down to just dollars? People are going to have all kinds of different things, and why Soto chose the Mets.
We've already got the security guard being blamed for booting out Soto's family at some point.
Oh, Yankee security guard.
I saw that. Heyman had that going there.
That one of the Yankee security guards upset him one day
back in April.
In April,
yeah.
Well, we know Juan Soto has a long memory, so look, I'm shocked. I really thought he'd stay with the Yankees, and he and Judge would kind of lead the pinstripes on into the future. But Soto, did the Mets really offer more? Was it that? Was it right down to the dollar, was it?
The story is that he was getting $765 million in an extra year from the Mets Yankees were offering 1 year less, $5 million less.
Oh,
so it's that close.
765 to 760. But this begs the question though: did Soto really tell Boros and make the Boris? What do I call him? Boros. Yeah,
he is a Boros to me.
I call him Boros because it rhymes with Moros.
Good save.
Yeah, but did Soto really go for the? Was it down to that? Was it like that's what he's going to do? He's going to take the most money? Because I can't believe when you're talking 765 to 760 that you didn't put some other equations in there before making your decision. And maybe Soto just thinks the Mets is a better fit for him. I don't know.
I think when you start getting up in those type of dollars, you start to look at some of the other things that's what I'm thinking that make the decision important, right? I mean, obviously it's a push, same city, right? They're not. I mean, Queens versus the Bronx at that point.
Seven train subway train out to the Queens and 4 subway train out to the Bronx. That's pretty much the big difference.
Yeah, so I think you start looking at the other things, right? I mean, he clearly had a few meetings with both owners.
Maybe he likes Steve Cohen better.
That could play at it. Lindor is this other superstar aside from Aaron Judge. I can't imagine, based on what we know of Aaron Judge, that Soto didn't enjoy playing for. I mean, it looked like they were having a blast every time.
Yeah.
So we don't honestly know what made the decision, but listen, I will say this: the pressure's not as high as a Mets.
It's a little less, isn't it?
Versus what the Yankees require. That's not to say that Mets fans won't get on your head top like the Yankee fans will, because they certainly will. But wouldn't if all things being equal, or if we remove Soto's name, I just asked you which one do you think more is of a pressure cooker? Yeah. Would you say the Yankees or the Mets?
No, for sure the Yankees.
I would like to update something because I got confused on my numbers. The Yankees actually offered 1 more year and $5 million less, which
So they said we want your services a year longer, but we'll give you less money.
We're going to give you $5 whole million left, so you'll be basically penniless.
I just wanted to make sure I got that in
thank you. You'll be penniless if you play for the Yankees.
Glad that you did that.
Here's the one thing that sticks out again to me, and Soto's going to go to the Mets. And ultimately, that means that the Mets, with Lindor, with Soto, with whatever else money they're going to spend, and Steve Cohen is obviously going to stop at nothing. The Mets and the Dodgers are going to be roadblocks for the Padres to get to the World Series. Doesn't mean that the Padres can't get there. Of course, it doesn't mean that. We've already beat the Mets in a playoff series. We beat the Dodgers in a playoff series, and eventually we may have to do it again. But here's the one thing that sticks out. How bad does this look for the Yankees in a lot of ways? Number one, they lose Soto. Number two, they also lost Michael King, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, Kyle Higashioka, and Drew Thorpe, which turned into Dylan Cease, to the Padres for a 1-year rental, basically. And they're really left holding the bag here, while the Padres, I think, move on happily. And obviously the Mets do.
Well, the
Yankees are going to take some heat.
The one matchup that we know Padre fans like to talk about is who won that trade. And now they can officially say
very good.
They won that trade.
I think you got to say it
until the end of the year, and then we'll have to rethink things.
Until next week, you mean?
No, until the end of the year when they have to re-sign Michael King. And
Cease.
They've already lost Kyle Higashioka, so
for the 2025 season
and 26.
Fair enough.
No, I'm saying for the 2025 season, the Padres are the winner.
Yes, they are.
And 24.
There's also some interesting parts of the contract, too. Like, I think after 5 or 6 seasons, I think it might be 5, he has an opt-out. And Casey outperforms his $51 million
I like
a year.
That. Set the bar high, son. If you can outperform this deal, God bless you. Here's the other thing, though. We ain't talking about deferrals.
We
are not talking about deferrals. And so I say that to say this is certainly a contract that would have benefited the Mets in millions of ways to have him defer this money. He did not want to.
Did I tell you last week or the week before or 6 months before that Juan Soto is not deferring
You
money?
did. But
there's no way he was doing that.
And guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. That is how most players operate. Yeah. The Dodgers, as I said last week, have been extremely fortunate that the 4 or 5 guys they've signed have all been willing to defer money.
It's like 5 or 6 guys. I mean, it's Freeman, it's Betts, it's Edman, it's Shohei, it's Snell. I mean, it's everybody.
Teoscar Hernandez
has done
and
this
so
for them.
listen, I don't know if it's the Dodgers convincing it or the players saying, you know what, I'm going to do this because I want to be in a winning situation. I'm in a place I like, whatever the case may be. But it's not a guarantee that you can make it happen.
Here's one of the thoughts that I had, I think, that only went on in my head when I found out there's no deferrals. Does that now, because of the trend of deferrals and helping your team, does that now label Juan Soto as a selfish player?
That somebody's going to go there.
At some point,
even though the 6 players.
Are you expecting that somebody to be me or?
No, I'm just saying anyone. Like to me, with all these deferrals on the Dodgers saying and Shohei taking $20 million over 10 years and deferring $680 million.
How about this? How about whoever the Padres sign for their next free agent? Will they be considered selfish if they don't want to defer?
Well,
money?
I don't see them signing anyone to $300 million.
They're not, but it didn't take that.
I'm not saying Juan Soto
Edman didn't sign for that kind of money.
No,
he deferred. So I'm just saying these are personal choices because ultimately you need the other player to decide to go down that path.
Attention, Jeff McNeil. Attention, Lindor. Attention, Brandon Nimmo. Attention, Tyrone Taylor.
What about Pete Alonso? Oh,
he's not there.
Yeah, he just got his answer.
Attention, everybody else in a Met uniform. Don't rush to the bus after the game. You'll probably have a little extra time. One last thing. The Padres do need to do something here. I think the ball is in their court to a certain extent. In the minds of Padre fans. Now, December 9th is not a fair time to say, to put any kind of offseason rating on things. But, you add in Snell, but you throw in Willy Adames now, signed with the Giants, Conforto to the Dodgers, etc. The division is bringing in some people. So the Padres are going to have to keep up with the Joneses. All right, we need to keep up with our clock today because Ruben Niebla, the pitching whisperer, is going to be with us in about 10 minutes. So we want to make room for him. Sam Levitt will join us later on from the winter meetings in Dallas, the latest baseball coverage. It's all for you on Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
219. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby here. Short show, Monday Night Football. Is it Cowboys-Bengals?
It is.
How often do I actually know the matchup?
Rarely. Never.
Never.
I happen to know it because for whatever reason, my son likes the Bengals. So he had asked me yesterday who was playing.
He's riled up.
He's ready for it. As you guys like to call him, as I think most of San Diego likes to call him, the pitching whisperer, will join us here shortly. Padres.
I'm excited to talk to Ruben.
I am too.
I don't know that we've had him on our show.
San Diego native, long time, and I'm sure. I don't know if he's out in Dallas right now, but certainly the Padres are preparing themselves to perhaps bring a new toy onto this rotation. And joining us is none other than that pitching whisperer, as they like to call him, Ruben Niebla. Ruben, how are you, my friend? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Tony. Nice to hear your voice again.
Yes, as always, nice to hear from you as well. Let's just start with the big news rolling around. Former guy on this team, Juan Soto, signs for the biggest deal in sports history. My question to you is, because I think a lot of Padre fans see a lot of the signings that are happening and all the different ways it's going down, and they may start to feel down. Now, I know you as a competitor may look at it a little bit differently. What goes through your mind as perhaps, whether it's the Dodgers, Giants, or any opponent, gets better? What goes through your head?
Well, I think one thing that we know is that you can make moves at any point in the season, right? We saw it last year where we acquired Luis Arraez and Dylan Cease later in the offseason, or very close to the season per se. And so, as you're watching things kind of start developing, you sit and wait and trust that the process is not just happening right now, but it's going to be in the future as well. So, trusting AJ Prowler and the leadership group there in the front office, and I think that the needs are clear of some of the stuff that we need, and they're very aware, and they're working hard at it, and we trust that.
And we trust in you, Ruben Niebla, the Padres pitching coach. How good does it feel to be, I guess, to quote, to be wanted, right? I mean, you're up for a contract, and the Padres, at least from everything we could tell, said, yeah, we definitely want Ruben Niebla back. I think every single Padre fan, right on down to the last fan out in the bleachers, said, we got to have Ruben Niebla. And so I asked, why didn't you hold out for a little more money? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But how good did it feel to be wanted? I mean, you work your whole career to get this opportunity, and it seems people are happy with the job you're doing.
Yeah, it's very humbling, first of all, to hear those words. I'm very happy to be here and holding out for more money. I don't think that was something. Obviously the negotiations went well. They were easy, and only because there was mutual, just wanting to both sides be on the same page and be back in San Diego. And so it was something that we were able to work out. I'm extremely happy, being the pitching coach of the San Diego Padres. It's something that is like a dream of mine, and obviously I'm living it, being close to home and with a good team that has an opportunity to compete for the World Series on a yearly basis. That's what one wants to be a part of. So very happy to be coming back a few more years, and let's see what we can do with that.
Ruben Niebla joins us here, Padres pitching coach. And Ruben, you've in your tenure here at in San Diego, you've had to kind of man different rotations. You've had to work with different managers across the board. No matter who you talk to, you are spoken very highly of. What is it about your style as it pertains to the players that creates this type of environment in which guys really look forward to coming to the yard? to not just work with you, but to be around one another. And that's guys who aren't even in the organization anymore. They consistently say how great it is to work with you. What is it that your style kind of consists of that gets this kind of feedback?
Well, again, it's pretty cool to can maintain some relationships of guys that have left here and be able to still continue to be friends with them and the guys that we have here. It's a great group, and I think that one of the things that is important to me is that and all players want to do this, is they all want to continue to get better, regardless. They want somebody to be there with them that can look at them in a different manner, meaning from different angles, from a strength and conditioning, from a biomechanical standpoint, from a training room standpoint, from an analytics standpoint, be able to look at them and say, like, hey, here's an opportunity to get better. Here's an area where we can continue to improve, or if we make this change, we can maybe be better. And so being able to dig into different angles of coaching, I think is a strength of mine. And hopefully that's something that the players can again continue to get improve from. And then the relationship building, I really take pride in making sure that I know these guys, who they are, who their family is, and really care for them. And I really do. I have a great bunch of guys, great group of guys that it's just like they come to the ballpark every day, and we talk about it all the time. You got to have growth mindset when you walk into that clubhouse. Yeah. Just be open to suggestions, be open to thoughts, and be open to sharing those thoughts with not only myself but with one another. And so we try to create that environment in our clubhouse. And again, we have great leaders, and we've had great leaders, and it's been a little challenging. There has been different rotations the last 3 years of core guys, and but again, it's the foundation that has been built that is really helped us, and a big piece of that, it has been two guys in particular, in Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove, and they're still around, so we look forward to next year as well.
Ruben Niebla is with us from the Padres, and you mentioned those two guys. I'm going to throw in King, I'm going to throw in Cease for now, and ask you, among the other guys, maybe the younger guys, or just the guys more on the periphery, not your starting four horses, who are you most excited to continue working with moving forward? Who maybe tops out in your mind, or potentially can still top out in terms of the kind of skill, maybe the kind of natural ability that they have that you're looking to tap into?
Well, I actually look forward to all of them. I'm looking at every single one of them as I'm having conversations with these guys in the off season. We're talking about things of what we're going to do next year to put ourselves in a better position. And you talk about Dylan Cease and his potential, and how are we going to get him to be even better. And we already have some ideas. And Michael King is the same thing. He's a great communicator. We were just texting this morning again. But, you look at Morejon, you look at Robert Suarez, there's going to be some slight adjustments here being made. And, it goes like from guy to guy. We're really looking forward to, improving from last year. And that's got to be the goal for this offseason, is really identifying where the opportunities are and taking advantage of them. So every year something new happens where some guy steps up and is better than the previous year. This year, I think we saw it a little bit in Morejon.
Yeah.
And that was a guy that took a step forward, and I really enjoyed the process of working with, somebody like Jeremiah Estrada, where we acquired him in the off season. We spent a little time, at the lab in January the previous year, and it came out of there and with some new pitches, and it was pretty cool to go through that process. So hopefully there's more of that coming this year.
Ruben, how different is it working with your starters versus your relievers? Because the starters seem like they're in your ear all the time. I mean, I know they're in the dugout during the game, so they have a little more access to you throughout the day. But I imagine the relievers aren't too far off. What is the difference between working with the two sides?
Well, yes, you do spend more time with the starters, I think, because there is work that's being done in between outings as well.
Yeah.
So the bullpen in between outings, there's one-on-one time that you can spend with them. With the relievers, it's a little bit more like, making sure that they're in a good mindset first of all, making sure that they're feeling good, making sure that their routines are intact, and a lot of support because. At the end of the day, they do spend a lot of time within themselves, that group. And so, I have a great pitching group as well. Our bullpen coach, Ben Fritz, Peter Somerville, Chris Apachea. It's a good group that we have constant communication and we're making sure that we know exactly where everyone is from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. So, just making sure that these guys are coming to the ballpark when they walk in through the doors of the clubhouse is that they're in a good spot in all the areas that I just discussed. So I think we do a really good job of just communicating with those guys and the relievers. It's a lot of times it's going by them and it's like how's everything going? Good. How do you feel? I feel great. Okay, you look great last time. Go do it again. The starters get a little bit more caught up in detailed conversations because they also go out there and they throw 100 pitches an outing. So there's more to digest, there's more to break down, and more, conversation just kind of goes a little bit more in detail there.
Ruben, I hope you don't have anything to do today. We got another 2 hours on the show, and I would love, honestly, to sit and pick your mind the entire time. I do have one last fun thing to ask before we let you go. You are the pitching whisperer. So what does the pitching whisper when you go out to the mound? I mean, look, you got Cease on the mound. He's given up 4 runs, 2 doubles. There's 3 guys on base. The crowd is booing. They call timeout. Here you come. Now you got to say something. Do you think of it on the way out? Do you write some notes have you ever got out there and not really had anything? How many different speeches do you have there? I mean, that's a tough spot, I would think.
All of the above.
Okay.
Let me tell you, this is probably the most frequent question that I get is, what do you actually tell these guys?
Yeah.
It's everything and anything. When I get out there, I first off, obviously having a feel of who you're going out to talk. Some of these guys, some will need a little bit more of a kick in the butt. Some of them will need a little bit more loving. The game sometimes dictates what the conversation also is going to be about. Is it attacking the next hitter? How are we going to get the next hitter out? Or is it about something else where I just want to distract them from the competition for a little bit, just to relax them a little bit? There's times when I just go out to make sure that we have enough time to get the bullpen ready. And there's a lot of trick of the trades on that. I've used Manny Machado plenty of times to help me with that, and run a little screen on the umpire before he gets to me. But it's different. It's just different. This is game dictated, player dictated, mood of the game. And there has been times when I've gone out there and I'm just like, hey man, it's not our day,
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
we're getting the bullpen ready. You know why I'm out here? And they're like, yeah, I know.
Try not to give up too many more runs while we get the bullpen ready, will you?
Yeah. But I will say this about the trip. So this is I will always remember this trip is and probably I'm not sure if it can be matched. Game against the Dodgers, Suarez, first and second, no outs, Ohtani on deck. If we win that game, we clinch the playoff spot. You guys remember that, right?
Yeah, triple play.
And triple play. Yeah, triple play. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. A triple play right after my trip with Ohtani on deck. This is just how he drew it up. But no, it's you live and die with those trips sometimes as well, and that's fine. That's part of the gig.
Well, that trip, as you said, will never be matched again. I don't see that happening. Ruben, happy to have you for however many years we get you, man. Appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Ruben.
And thank you for having me on. Thanks, guys.
No problem. Ruben Niebla, Padres pitching coach, a.k.a. the pitching whisperer.
Yes, where was he when I needed him about 30 years ago when I was pitching at San Diego State? Who knows, Tony? I might have been able to make a living at this thing with that guy.
Might have changed the course of everything.
Yeah, right. I mean,
I would be like, if I was a pitching coach and things weren't going well, I'll just go out there and be like, catch Love is Blind last night.
Well, I
he
think
probably says stuff like that sometimes.
Chris definitely would have been one of the pitchers that needed more love. Because he's already running hot as it is. He wants to toss you the ball as you're coming out and take him out of the game.
That's true. Yes, you got to calm me down out there back in the day.
No doubt. All right, let's.
Are you talking about when he threw it at Coach Dietz or flipped it for Coach Dietz?
Now, as the story goes on, now pretty soon it's going to be I threw a line drive at his head.
You crow hopped and threw it.
I'm pretty sure he fell over too.
All right, let's get to break. We got a whole lot more to get to, including Daily Gambit in the next hour, but probably break down some more of what's happening in baseball. But college football playoff is also something that has created great conversation. We'll get to it on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
and again, AJ, I trust him. So it's, I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about it, quite candidly. I mean, I think about our team. We're spending a lot of time with our staff and our players, clearly allowing them to enjoy the off season, but also making sure that we have real synergy with our group, to have a winning off season, which I feel like we're in a really good position with all our guys and they're bought in. And I say all that really is not a way to escape the answer, but just where my attention's focused on. And
Mike Schilt talking to the morning guys, Ben and Woods. If you want to hear the entire interview, you can always download the Odyssey app or go to our webpage, 973thefansd.com, Ben and Woods. And you'll hear the whole interview with Mike Schilt, everything he had to say. Hope you enjoyed our visit with Ruben Niebla. I know we did. 2:42 is the time, Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby. And we got a couple of hours ahead of Monday Night Football. Is there anything else Schilt said that we need to hear, Mr. Skraby? Anything more that you want to touch on?
He does talk about Ethan Salas, which with the morning show. So if you're curious about that, like Chris said, go and download it. But I think there's two that I'm interested in, and I think the one I want to hear is what his thoughts were with Kyle Higashioka signing in Texas.
Let's hear some of that.
We're going to miss Higgy. I mean, listen, as a guy that, we all know it. He moved our needle, right? He was a part of our fabric that helped us win games. That took the division down to the wire, and then allowed us to go into the playoffs and be productive. And he was a big part of that. And in talking to him, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we're creating and still have a really family-oriented, clubhouse and group along with the staff. This is a very tight group that's continuing to get closer and tighter. But sometimes you got to be reminded that this is as familiar as you want to continue to make this, and we are, and how important that is to our success, which it is. Sometimes the reality of the business slaps you in the face, and it happened in Higgy's case. I mean, listen, can't fault him at all. He's the guy that's been in the league for a while and worked hard to get the big leagues. Took him a while to get there, and he's getting a real bite at the apple, and that's a big part of what I want to help these guys be able to do is two things: win games and make sure they can have success so they can take care of their families, because their windows are small in their careers. And so you look up and a guy's 34 years old and he gets a chance to make some real life-changing, altering money, and he begrudgingly, I say that for him. It might not be fair, but in conversations with him, and I know how much he enjoyed the clubhouse and San Diego and the fans and just Petco and everything that comes with being a Padre. But he made a decision that he needed to make that we respect for his family.
There you go. Mike Schilt, speaking of the departed Kyle Higashioka.
That's got to be hard, though. It has to be hard watching someone that you...
I think it's hard, but I think they're really all used to it at this point, right?
True.
Guys are moving, changing. True. They're going to go get as much money as they can in a lot of cases, and you can't have everything.
And as we know, due to my breakdown on A.J. Preller's catching spending habits, he's never spent more than $5 million on a catcher.
All right.
Yeah, that was
Derek Norris, I believe, was number one on that list.
That was courtesy of Mr. Matt Skraby.
Yeah, guess what? Mr. Matt Skraby's research.
I'm in development with the rest of the positions.
The research department of our show, Mr. Skraby over there.
Although they don't really have a catcher right now outside of Luis Campusano. So
Brett Sullivan. Is he not a big league caliber catcher? He's on the roster.
I thought so, but last year they didn't seem to.
He's on the roster I'm looking at right here.
They also had Kyle Higashioka last year, along with.
But then they sent Luis Campusano down, and then they signed Elias Diaz instead of.
I mean, Elias Diaz was a former All-Star.
I get it.
So,
I get it.
There was reasons, but Brett Sullivan's still on the roster. So.
And don't worry about it. Campusano will be an all-star. I told you this already. I'm going to go right to the
speaking it into existence.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. We have to wait till the Daily Gambit. But something just hit me. Tony, Chris made a bet on the air on Friday, and we're going to talk about what he has to do in the Daily Gambit.
What I have to do?
Yeah. We have the audio.
Uh-oh. That's not boding well for me right now.
No, it's not. But
College football playoff, it has finally arrived, and now we all have brackets to look at, and there are 12 teams that will compete for the championship. Alabama is not one of them, to my great delight. Miami also missed out on this. A few others, and obviously that's going to happen. I mean, put in 12, the number 13 and 14 and 15 are going to be upset. Here's a couple of things, just my quick thoughts. And I think everybody's probably seen the bracket. It's a little early to break down the actual games. They don't play for a couple of weeks now. But I don't like the seeding of the conference champions ahead of other teams that finish in second or third place that are better.
you don't like that.
I don't
Why
like
not?
that. I don't think Boise State, and I'm going out of school on my own conference here. I don't think Boise State necessarily deserves a bye over Texas or Ohio State or Notre Dame just because they won the conference.
Why do they deserve it over?
Why don't they?
Why do they? Why do the other teams
Well,
deserve it over
I think
Boise?
the rankings clearly say that Notre Dame and Texas and Ohio State are far superior to Boise State. Now let Boise State prove that, and as an 11 seed and win the tournament, and I'll be the happiest guy out there. But I think you should determine who the voters feel are the best four teams and give them a bye.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay,
I watched
throwing it out there.
I watched Boise pretty much handle Oregon until the very end.
To the last minute,
minute.
Right. I know.
I don't know. I think if you're making that argument, then Alabama should be in. I think because
Alabama would be better than quote SMU probably in terms of the eye test.
I would say so.
Okay.
But I personally like SMU, and I like the fact that the committee did not acquiesce to what I feel like I don't know if it felt like the entire country, but it felt like a heavy pressure.
Yeah.
To get Alabama in, even as the lead up, as they were talking about it.
Has Paul Feinbaum spoken on this yet?
He actually did.
And
he made some. Wait, was it him? No, maybe it wasn't Paul Feinbaum. Somebody made an excellent point about, whether. Oh, and I think it was Feinbaum.
Okay.
He was talking about ADs now taking a second look at how they schedule preseason games.
Good.
Because
Stop scheduling Mercer College.
Well, no, the opposite way.
Oh, the opposite way.
Because
Schedule
Alabama,
Mercer College.
Had a tough preseason schedule.
Oh, keep your record intact.
However, their two losses came in division to two teams.
All three of their losses came in their conference.
In conference, but two of those teams were at the bottom.
Vanderbilt and Oklahoma were really lousy teams this year that whooped Alabama.
Right.
Both of them. And that is ultimately why Alabama's in.
Exactly.
They're not in. All right, Tony, I'm gonna go with you here. I'm gonna go ahead, but it just looks funny to me that Arizona State is the 4 seed.
I'm not saying I disagree with the idea that those teams are better than Boise, but if we're gonna be consistent, then
just go ahead and let then
Alabama.
Here's my thing. Arizona State's the 4 seed. They play either Texas or Clemson. Most people think it'll be Texas. Let's just say Texas wins. They're the 5 seed. So now you got the 5 seed against the 4 seed. The 5 seed is going to be favored by 21 points.
Yeah.
That is what doesn't sound right to me.
Feinbaum definitely pointed out that particular matchup has the best pathway to getting where they want to go.
Texas has a good draw. Tennessee and Ohio State got a terrible draw. Not only did they have to play each other,
they did.
Not only have to play each other, but whoever wins then has to go against number 1. They'd much rather go against number 4.
Georgia got lucky.
I don't know how lucky Georgia is. I'm going to tell you why. Because I think Notre Dame is the wild card in this thing.
Yeah.
They weren't in a conference, but they had some big wins this year.
They played some tough teams, too.
They crushed Georgia Tech, a team that almost beat Georgia and did beat Miami. They lost. Their one loss was to Northern Illinois. It was the first or second game of the year, and it was like, how did that happen? After that, Notre Dame pretty much laid the gauntlet down. They beat Army by 40 points, and Army ended up losing that one game. Notre Dame might be kind of a bit of a wild card here. I wouldn't be shocked.
Here's why I love the way this, not necessarily the seeding, but I love the teams that got it. I think we got a good bracket. Is because unlike the 4-team playoff where, I mean, it was very unlikely of an upset happening most of the time.
That's right. Whoever won, big deal.
Right. Now, you gotta win some games, and I just think it opens the door for more upsets.
At the very least, you're going to have to win 3 games to win the championship.
Yes.
If you're in the first round, you're going to have to win 4. I think it's going to be exciting.
I do too.
It's not perfect, and I'm betting you that somebody like Texas or Ohio State or Penn State, for that matter, is going to complain bitterly about not getting a first-round draw to the point where the committee may change that next year.
How do you feel about the conversation that was happening prior to? Meaning, if SMU had not gotten in and had done everything they were supposed to do except play an extra game of a conference championship, and then next year teams started saying, you know what? We declined the conference championship invitation because
that cost us.
It didn't happen that way, which I think, may or may not have played a part in the committee's decision because I think it could have really, the way we've seen college sports work, it could have set off a trend that I don't think would have been pretty. But what did you think of that? Did you see that as a possibility?
I think the conference championships are going to have to go away.
You think
in the next few years? They're just going to have to. It's not to your benefit to play in that game if you're one of the big schools.
Hey, I got an idea.
What's your idea?
Uh-oh.
Win.
Cooking.
Win.
That's another fair point.
Just win.
Yeah,
if you want
win,
to
you're
seed
in.
right.
Oh, win, like
Yeah.
W-I-N. Yes.
Chris,
That's my main reason why Alabama shouldn't be complaining. They
didn't
all
win.
they needed to do was win.
I feel like everybody's being too picky about this college football playoff thing. It's like, I didn't like this one, but I also don't like this one.
I agree with
I
that.
don't like this one either, but I don't really know which one I like.
Yeah, I can agree with
And
that.
I'm not saying that about you specifically, Chris. I'm saying this is what I'm seeing collectively from people.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yes, I'm not speaking alone here.
Chris said that before this thing ever started. Of course, we're going to have now an argument about 13, 14, and 15 not getting in.
Who knew Alabama was going to be that team?
I think we're always going to have, especially this early, it's the first year of it, we're going to always have some type of scuttle on who should be in, who's not.
Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt. I left that last part out.
I like the word scuttlebutt.
But no, I think we're going to be having that.
Ohio State should be lucky they are where they are. They lost to a terrible Michigan team late in the year, right?
Yep, that's true.
No, for sure.
True.
But they are in a tough side of the bracket for sure.
Well, to play Tennessee and then have to go Oregon, as opposed to Texas, which plays Clemson and then goes to Arizona State.
I kind of agree
Advantage
with that too.
Texas.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get into a little more college football playoff. On the other side, we got the Daily Gambit, and I, for the life of me, can't remember what I promised to everybody.
He's thinking about this whole
But
time.
I know it had something to do with how much I thought Penn State stunk.
It definitely does.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
I watched this game with both of my
with
eyes
a lot of,
wide open.
Yeah, you know what? It was closer than I anticipated, and I guess I'm going to have to pay the price. So we'll see what happens when we return on Gwynn and Chris.
301. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Good first hour. Covered the Juan Soto, Sasaki drama. We covered the pitching whisper, Ruben Niebla. We covered some college football. Now we move to what a lot of people love, some betting. It seems to be the craze going around our country.
Slightly.
I had a big parlay over the weekend.
Did you?
Why do
hear it?
you actually do bet this stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's like $5. And
It's like $5.
It's legal
You can't
through
afford
the
that.
state of California.
You can't
okay?
afford it. You can't
Prize
afford that.
Picks.
You don't have money lying around.
It's easy.
You don't have money lying
I have
around.
$5. I've won a couple bets lately.
I know one thing. You're down a hundo.
Are you down a hundo?
He's down a hundo in the fantasy football unless he gets a miracle tonight.
Yes,
Yeah,
he is.
we can't throw in the towel yet. I am still holding strong that Rico Dowdle is going to have 50 points tonight.
That's going to be your only saving grace.
Who do you need to get 50?
Rico Dowdle, which, by the way, he's not terrible.
This is Skraby trying to convince himself he still has a chance. By the way, he's not terrible in what?
Oh, he's not terrible. I mean, he scored 20 points like maybe 2 or 3 times this year.
Oh, yeah. So there's a 50 piece in there somewhere.
No, what I'm saying is like he's going to have to go crazy on a terrible Bengals defense that could happen.
Rico Dowdle needs to score 35 or 40 points, and CeeDee Lamb has to go scoreless.
See, I feel like CeeDee Lamb's packed it in for the season.
So that's why you've said 50 because you're
yeah.
anticipating CeeDee Lamb
just making sure.
getting a little bit.
If Rico Dowdle catches like 10 balls, that's
All
10
right.
points right there.
Trying to make a way out of no way.
I have been beating myself up since yesterday, actually since last week, because I knew this was going to be the result. I made a mistake in like week 3 or 4. Didn't put in the defense that I wanted to on a Thursday night. The defense that I sat on my bench had 3 extra points than the defense that I started. I would have won that week if I had started the defense that I wanted to instead of making a mistake. So this is my fault, and I'm beating myself up over it.
I'm sorry to hear
Last
that,
week I lost to Braden by .04 because I sat Sam Laporta, who's been awful all year, and then he catches 2 touchdowns.
So there's 2 decisions. That one was
that
pretty
one,
recent.
that one, I'm not so bothered by because I told myself going into that game, change your defense, and then I never did. Sorry,
That's unfortunate.
Sorry, I needed to get that out. Thank you.
Was there any shenanigans, Chris, over the weekends in those 2 matchups? You know, we had talked about...
Connor put his legit lineup in.
Although he put 3 Dolphins in the lineup. Come on, bro.
Well, it was there was 16 buys this week, so he didn't have a lot of choice.
3 Dolphins.
He put in his best lineup he could. I know that.
I know.
He lost, or he's losing to Laurie because Laurie has Josh Allen, who's had like 54 points.
Yeah.
So that's what's beating you. But yes, Connor also has Rico Dowdle tonight, so he could pull off a miracle, which is what you need to get into the playoffs.
And you are comfortably sitting in a playoff spot.
I am a little nervous going into the playoffs for this reason. I currently now have a ridiculous 8-game winning streak.
Oh.
And I need 3 more now for the title. And 11 in a row sounds really hard to do. So
It can happen.
I hope so.
It can happen.
hope so.
Definitely can happen, but it's going to be uphill.
gonna
Did
be
you guys
uphill.
just, because you saw your godson this weekend, were you guys just making fun of me all yesterday? Just
No,
like,
he was actually
Skraby's losing.
He actually spent very little time on you yesterday.
He had
On
something
the day
he
of
had
something important?
He had something important.
something
He's
going
more
not talking about me?
Yeah. Congrats to our friend Connor, my godson. He proposed to his longtime girlfriend yesterday. Had a little engagement party last night in Denver, which I attended.
On
and
Sunday
now I'm
night.
back here. Yeah. So good for Connor.
Just trying to be a
Congrats.
jerk over here.
Yes, and you're doing quite well at it, as usual.
Let's get to our daily gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. So we had our first bet was on Boise State, -4 over UNLV. Both of us chose Boise, and Boise won 21-7. Now, Ashton Genty had a huge game, and the announcers were like pulling for him to win the Heisman, which I appreciated because I think he should win the Heisman.
I don't know, 200 plus and like 190 of it again after contact. He gets hit and he hardly ever goes down.
That's so impressive.
I know Travis Hunter has a lot of backing, deservedly so. So this is going to be an interesting Heisman vote this year. But
it will be.
Somebody's going to be upset. I know one thing, if Travis Hunter loses, bet we'll hear from Dion.
Probably.
He won't take that lying down.
No, he won't.
No.
Anyway.
Very good.
I'm going to learn to keep my mouth shut. Moving on to Chris's bet that he made.
Tell him how this came about.
Well, Chris hates Penn State so much.
I don't hate them. I didn't believe in their team.
Yes, you don't believe in their team. You said that they do not deserve to be where they're at, and they should be kicked out if they lose big in this game.
Right, and I thought they would lose big.
Oregon on the real spread is -3.5. Tony, Chris proposed his own spread of -13.5.
Right.
That did not happen.
I know, but what did I say I would do if it didn't happen?
It's not that bad, but on the Friday, I think
you had to set up like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I
so
know.
it better be amazing.
Well, he said he would wear a bunch of Penn State stuff during the show.
That can be amazing.
That can be amazing. Yes.
Well, I normally wear a white shirt, but I didn't today. So.
Oh, we'll be getting you some Penn State stuff.
Get me some Penn State stuff. I'll be happy to wear it. I watched the game. First of all, I was impressed more with Penn State than I thought, but I was actually not impressed with Oregon. Their defense is not a championship defense. They gave up 297 yards rushing. It's the number one team in football, undefeated. Oregon could be in trouble somewhere down the road. That's a lot of yardage they gave up.
That is.
So, but I will also say Oregon led by more than 13.5 for most of the game. Penn State scored at the end.
Yes.
Kind of a backdoor cover in that regard.
That let's make you sleep at night. That's okay.
That's
we
right.
both chose Oregon, and
I lost. You win.
Yes,
because I didn't cover my own.
45-37.
I didn't cover my own spread.
Now Texas and Georgia, big controversy with Carson Beck throwing a Hail Mary at the end of that first half. He got hurt. They saying they don't have a definitive what's happening with his elbow, but it doesn't look good. Texas -3 on this one. Chris chose Texas. I chose Georgia. Georgia wins 22-19
in overtime.
It's
a pretty exciting game.
It was. It was a good game.
Now, real quick, Tony, I don't know if I got your take on this. Do you like the college overtime rule better or NFL?
I like the NFL.
So
Really?
do I.
It's just too much. Like
the college
have
overtime
9
rule is
overtimes.
weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Like, why are we starting at the 25?
I've never liked it.
That just I
I
don't
hope
like
the NFL never adopts it.
Well, they won't. That's probably true.
Yeah.
Celtics -8 over the Bucks on Friday night. Chris chose the Bucks. I chose the Celtics. Celtics did win, but they only won by 6, 111-105. Hawks -5.5 over the Lakers. Chris chose the Lakers. I chose the Hawks because the Lakers keep making me wrong, and they made me wrong once again. Oh, actually, no, they didn't. Sorry. Wait. Sorry.
All right,
Sorry.
this is
I'm
good.
very confused.
Yes, you are. Hawks won,
I
but
chose
they did
the
not cover.
Hawks.
But they
And
won,
did
but
not
they didn't cover the spread.
Correct.
So you lost.
Yes. LeBron over under 1.5 threes. Chris went over, I went under. He had lots of threes on Friday night. He went 6 for 11 from 3. And then Brock Bowers over under 7.5 catches in the game yesterday. Chris and I lauded Brock Bowers the entire show. Over, both of us went. He had 3 catches yesterday.
Going back to the Lakers, your friend, Tony, Bill Plaschke. I don't know if he's your friend.
I don't listen to Bill when it comes to the Lakers.
Well, okay. Well, then you don't want to hear this.
Yeah, I read it already.
Oh, you read it already?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I share it with everybody else?
Yes, I haven't
please.
seen
No, I
it.
was just, as
He
you
said the Lakers, basically the franchise is going right down the tubes, and they ought to jettison Anthony Davis and LeBron so that they don't sink with the ship.
Wow.
It's pretty harsh.
Bill is.
They're in a slump. Okay, they've lost 6 out of 8. Big deal.
Bill was in the prime of his career when the Lakers were winning a bunch of championships, and they were able to win a bunch of championships for a myriad of different reasons. Whether it was coin flips, whether it was somehow teams willing to make trades with them to help them get in position. That is no longer the case, and it's not been the case for quite some time. Teams. Really, ever since David Stern put the kibosh on the Chris Paul deal to the Lakers, it seems like things changed in terms of teams. I don't know that they were willing to help the Lakers. I don't know if they just were thinking about it in those terms. But I think back to the Gasol deal. Like, why would Memphis do that? I mean, they ended up getting Marc Gasol in that deal, but that was a crazy, stupid trade. Nobody's doing that. These GMs have gotten wiser, and in some cases, they've gotten better than what the Lakers are doing. So I don't blame that on necessarily LeBron and AD. Those were the moves you made at the time, and now you gotta live with those moves.
Lakers are still a fairly,
they're good.
They're an outside contending team.
Right.
They're not a favored contending team, but I don't know that I would completely give up on them because of a cold streak, which it has certainly been.
It has been. Before we get into your bets, Chris, listen to Inside San Diego Baseball, Sam Levitt. It's going to be tomorrow night, Tuesday night this week from 7 to 9 p.m. right here on 97.3 The Fan and the YouTube page. Sam's going to be live from Dallas at the winter meetings talking about everything that happens. That's tomorrow night, 7 to 9 p.m. right here on 97.3 The Fan. And then you'll hear from Sam in about a half hour with us.
Yes, you'll get a little preview of Sam because he is in Dallas at the winter meetings. Okay, we got Bengals -4.5 at Cowboys. I'll start right in. The Cowboys suck. The Bengals, though, continue to give up points like it's water through a spigot. I'll take the Bengals in a high-scoring game.
Water through a spigot.
Yeah, just rolling on
Joe Burrow
through.
has 30 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
They've scored 38 points 4 times this year and lost.
That's crazy.
Joe Burrow
The
has
Bengals.
kind of had a little bit of what Josh Allen had the last 2 years. He's had a phenomenal year, but when he is turning the ball over, it has been in like the most inopportune time every time. He's not doing it a lot, but when he has, they've been big ones.
Yes.
To answer your question, I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Wow. I'm going to go with the Rico Dowdle-led Cowboys.
I believe the Cowboys are my upset pick, so that's part of the reason why I'm
well,
going
you
for
really
them.
don't need that.
Also,
Got a 30-point lead in our picking contest.
the Simpsons broadcast is on tonight as
Oh,
well. So
I
I'm going
did
to check
hear.
that out for a second.
Did hear about that.
I'm going to check it out for a second. I'm going Cowboys.
All right. Speaking of Rico Dowdle, who gets more rushing and receiving yards? Rico Dowdle or CeeDee Lamb? Skraby, I know who you have to pick, Dowdle,
Yes.
because you need a monster. I'm going to pick Dowdle, too, because I just have a weird feeling that you're going to make Lori sweat it out a little bit tonight.
I think we'll all
would
go
hope.
Dowdle then.
You got to make up 26.5 points, but I just have a weird feeling tonight for you.
Don't tell me that because then I'm going to have hope.
You already have hopes.
I'm
You already have
trying to
plenty
be
of-
realistic.
All right, Joe Burrow, 280.5. Tony, 280.5 passing yardage. Burrow tonight against the Cowboys.
Under.
Under, he says. Interesting. That was an interesting way of saying it, too.
Over.
I think he's going to go way over. Cowboys.
Way over, like, what,
Packed it in.
350?
Yeah. I mean, he goes 350 pretty much every game. College basketball, it's a light schedule tonight. Indiana -9.5 over Minnesota in a
Minnesota.
big 10 game.
You said Indiana what?
9.5 over Minnesota. I don't have a lot of context for this game.
I love
this is
making
just
bets
the only.
blind.
It's the only game that I know that, like, I've heard of both teams, because otherwise it's kind of a weird night. Here, let me look at their records. Give you a little bit of help. Indiana's way down here at 7-2. Minnesota's 6-4. I don't know what that helps you.
I'm going to go with Indiana.
-9.5. I'll take Minnesota. Why not? The Golden Gophers. Tony?
I'll take the Golden Gophers.
Also taking the Gophers. Rangers 1.5 over the Blackhawks. By the way, I didn't get this in. The Blackhawks have fired their coach already.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get the #1 draft choice, and then his second year he goes into a sophomore slump.
It's the coach.
It's always the coach, yeah. Always the coach. So they have the worst record in the league. That didn't help his cause either. So Rangers are one of the better teams. The Rangers should blow them out in New York. Rangers. Tony?
Yeah, Rangers.
Rangers. Skraby? Any love for the Blackhawks here?
No.
Scotty Barnes for Toronto. Does everybody remember Scotty Barnes? He was the guy, and I think it was a Laker game about 2 years ago, where the coach of the Raptors at the time lost his mind because Scotty Barnes wasn't getting the foul calls that a guy like LeBron James gets.
I do recall.
And he said Scotty Barnes is the future. Burns, yeah.
I was gonna say.
I know
he's
not on the. He's not on the Simpsons. Scotty Barnes, was going to be the future of the NBA, and the league ought to look out for him. Honestly, since that rant, I hadn't even heard Scotty Barnes' name once.
He was hurt a lot of last year.
I don't know what's happened to this guy.
He's not quite taken off the way said coach
So
was.
why are we bringing him up?
Because there's only one NBA game tonight, and his bet is over under 21.5 points for him against the Knickerbockers.
I'm not first.
Under.
Tony goes under. No belief in Scotty. Skraby?
I'm going to go over.
All right.
Belief in Scotty.
Yeah.
Scotty Burns or Barnes?
Well, either one.
Barnes. Burns Barnes.
This game's north of the border. Tibbs is going to clamp down. I say under.
Tibbs.
Talk about a happy guy. Tom Thibodeau. What do they write about him in New York?
I don't know.
I don't know. We don't live there, so I don't see it. But this guy's the most miserable-looking human being that I've ever seen.
I would love to know where Tom Thibodeau's from.
God, Tibbs, relax. It's
Miserable
still a
Town,
game.
USA.
Yeah. Always look somebody peed in his Wheaties. As the old
I would
saying
look
goes.
like that too if someone peed in my Wheaties, I must say.
Is from New Britain, Connecticut. He went to New Britain High School and then Salem State.
Look at you with the fast research, dear kid.
Thank you, Wikipedia. I actually did. You know how they always ask you to donate to Wikipedia to keep it alive?
Yeah, sure.
I did, actually. Donate for once. You guys should do it too. Keep it alive.
All right, let's get to break. On the other side, A.J. Preller talked Sasaki. Yeah, we'll get to it on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly.
mean, they won the game by 17, so I mean, I don't want to sound like I guess I sound like I'm whining, but I don't know. I expected a little more. Just a little.
What does
more.
that mean?
A little more. A
little more some of that. Yeah.
Spanking.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the spanking.
Are you gonna wipe their butts or what?
Yeah.
Listen, I think coming. I saw somewhat of. I shouldn't say I saw it. I may have expected a little bit of a letdown. I mean,
yeah.
Considering the kind of schedule they had just ran through.
Fair enough.
I think.
Yeah.
It was almost expected, at least from my standpoint, that they weren't going to come out with the same type of intensity that they've been coming out with.
Yeah, they led by only 2 at half.
I saw that.
They shot 29% from 3. They shot 40% from the field. I think they, rebounding was all right. Turnovers were a little messy. It wasn't their best game, but that's okay.
I think that's how USD stays within 2 points in the half.
But USD shouldn't be within 2, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a good team
at
all.
If you shoot 29% and you turn the ball over,
you're
going to give a team like USD a chance to be down 2 points.
I'm probably being a little bit too demanding right now.
No, I think they've gotten your hopes. They've raised your expectation level.
Well, I know Dutch and those guys probably. I think coaches like these games. They won't say it.
100%. I think they have said it on our show.
Yeah, they like it when they don't play great, but they win. Because then they can go back and show them a ton of footage and film and go, you can't do this anymore.
I mean, that to me is kind of one of the staples of this program. I mean, after a game like that, typically what happens is they come out the next game, and the one thing that definitely happens is the defense gets turned up a couple of notches, and they tend to make the adjustment.
They only have one game this week, Cal Baptist, which is going to be Wednesday night.
Good call there. You said it. No, he didn't say it right.
No. They're going to send the California Baptist Police after you.
Oh, they're California Baptist? Sorry.
I mean, duh.
And speaking of that, their next game, the Aztecs, their last non-conference game will be on the 21st. That'll be against California. Just straight old California.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do Cal on that one. But
I know.
Cal Baptist does not like that.
And this just looks so weird to me. The Cal-San Diego State game on December 21st will be televised on the ACC network.
Oh, because that's where Cal's at, obviously.
Yes, Cal's in the ACC.
The Atlantic Coast Conference.
Of course. So, all right, on to baseball. What did we have from A.J. Preller today?
Well,
Mr. Skraby.
Heading into our talk with Sam Levitt, I think we should... Sammy Lev asked A.J. Preller, actually, about Roki Sasaki and how much the team is,
Was this in the middle of a scrum, or was this a
No, this is like a Zoom
with...
thing.
Okay, all right.
AJ is in front of his camera, so here it is.
AJ Roki Sasaki officially posted available for MLB clubs as of this morning. Can you speak to the kind of priority that Sasaki is for your organization in particular?
Yeah, I mean, it's he's one of the elite talents in the world, and I think really dating back to 17, 18 years old, we've been tracking and following and scouting Roki, and it's just exciting to see one of the best talents in the game, somebody that we've had a chance to see both in MPB and the World Baseball Classic. Now wanting to come to the big leagues and show the world he's one of the best pitchers in the game, and I think as an organization we'll be very prepared, but very excited to sit down and kind of hear his thoughts on his situation. Hope we connect soon.
There's been obviously a lot of talk about his posting, but now that it's here, what can you share with us in regards to what that process now may look like between him and his representation?
Yeah, I think it's his process. So I think from our standpoint, we'll be prepared and ready to ask questions. But ultimately, for Roki and his representatives, Joel Wolf and Wasserman, they're going to kind of set the guidelines of what it's about. And I think for us, we're just super excited to just talk about City of San Diego, the fan base, our thirst for a championship, our team that feel like as good as any team in the game. Over the last definitely over the last 12 months and. But ultimately just hear from Roki how he wants to handle and then in his group how they want to handle the process, and we'll be ready to talk at the right time.
That's our guy AJ Preller, who can go into AJ Preller speak at a drop of a hat.
He gave us a little bit. He gave us his pitch a little bit.
What did he give you?
He did a little bit.
The premier arms in the world, he said. I like that.
Yes, he did.
That was actually Sam one-on-one with AJ, not through a Zoom. I'm really good at my details today, if everybody
apparently not
didn't know.
Sam Levitt coming to us from Dallas, Texas, and coming to us with more from the winter meetings after a short time out and a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
On Tuesday.
Nothing but good vibes on this Monday afternoon. 3:36 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Sam Levitt, the great, will join us here shortly. First, let's check some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Scratchers from the California Lottery. Give the gift of play this holiday. Hey guys, got a few problems here. One of them is this crash on westbound 78 on the Vista Village Drive off-ramp. Also traveling on eastbound 78 at Civic Center off-ramp. Stalled vehicle partially in that left lane. Northbound 15 before Rancho Bernardo Road, clearing a crash out of the slow lane. In Balboa Park, North 163, right before Robinson, got an accident being moved over to the right shoulder. If you're looking for the perfect gift, give Scratchers from the California Lottery. With so many to choose from, you're sure to find the right gift for anyone on your list. Give the gift of Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Sam Levitt joins us live from the MLB Winter Meetings presented by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. Sam, tell us about the digs, man. Where is the meetings? What hotel? What kind of ambiance are you surrounded by?
Yeah, it's very nice. The holiday spirit is really very much in play here at the Hilton Anatole. I think it's Hilton Anatole, not Hilton Anatoly, although I have not confirmed that. But it's great. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, they've got the lights. They've got, how do I describe this? The rooms, at least in this part of the hotel, they surround a big rectangle in the middle where really all the winter meeting stuff is going on.
It sounds like there's a fountain somewhere in there.
Yeah, well, where is it? There's a little pool of water.
Okay,
actually quite a
there's
big
water
pool of
somewhere.
water.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, next to me. I'm not sure
There's
how
a
loud that
pool of
is,
water.
but I am. Look, I brought my equipment down to the lobby because I wanted this to look a little bit more grand than just sitting in my hotel room. But
you've done it.
The good news is my hotel room is very, very close to the main area here. In fact, when I walk out the door, I'm in one of these rooms all around, and then we have the main area and the media workroom. But hotel is good. We'll see how much I get out, explore Dallas, maybe some barbecue in my future tonight, maybe tomorrow. But everything is good. The winter meetings are fun. Everybody's walking around, and the kind of the beauty of this thing is you spend 10-15 minutes here in the lobby, and you'll see every executive, every manager, every big-time reporter there is to see. So it's been a good day so far, a fun day, and so far I'm a fan of the Hilton Anatole. I'll tell you, I do like this location better than Nashville because that Opryland was just, it's enormous, and I had no idea where I was going the entire time. This is a lot more simple, which I like.
I kind of miss the Hyatt in San Diego.
Yeah, that's
very
always
nice.
Fun. Yeah.
That's where we had the winter meetings.
I will say of all the conversations I've had in the last 24 hours, a couple of people have said to me how much they enjoy the winter meetings in San Diego. And one person even said to me, why don't we just always have it in San Diego? The hotel's great. You got the gas lamp across the street. So I'm a fan of that, but they got to give everybody a turn.
Sammy, what are the Padres doing? What's news? What's busy? We just had a little sounder of you chatting with AJ about Sasaki.
Yeah.
We're getting how fans are. We get a little impatient. The Dodgers signed a couple guys. The Giants signed somebody big, so we want our team in there. What's the latest? Anything?
Well, I think from the Padres front, I think the official posting of Roki Sasaki is obviously the biggest news of the day. And in talking with some different people here, certainly the wide consensus is that the Padres are very much in this thing for Roki Sasaki. I had John Heyman say to me earlier, I had Tom Verducci say pretty much the same thing, that the Padres and Dodgers are the front runners for Sasaki. I don't know if you played this clip yet, but I asked AJ Preller a little bit earlier, so what is the process now that he's been officially posted? And it sounds like it's going to be Sasaki and his agents kind of dictating the process, and they'll kind of direct how this process goes. I don't know if that includes a visit to San Diego. I don't know if that includes meetings in the very near future here, but there's no doubt, I think, Sasaki is a main focus for the Padres, and it plays into, I think, the other theme of day one here of the winter meetings, and it's not breaking news, but that it's unclear what the Padres' payroll situation will be. It's unclear whether they are going to be willing to go above that luxury tax threshold. A.J. Preller talked a little bit earlier about that, and look, they don't give specifics about that payroll number, but he did say, look, it's with the ownership group, it's never a hard and fast number or level, and obviously, there are situations and players that come about, and they operate within those situations. So, I wasn't surprised to hear AJ, not tell you exactly what the payroll is going to be, but he said today that, with this ownership, it's never a hard and fast number. So we'll see what it ultimately ends up being. I would say that if this team doesn't go over that tax threshold, then you start looking at it and what they need, and you start to realize, okay, there's going to have to be quite a bit of creativity from AJ Preller to go get things they need and find ways to free up money. The other thing that I thought was interesting from when AJ talked within the last 90 minutes or so, he said the Padres made a very competitive offer to Kyle Higashioka. Obviously, Higgy elected to go to the Texas Rangers, and AJ also said that the Padres have been in on pretty much every catcher that's come off the board. And from what I took away from what AJ said about the catching situation, yes, he mentioned Luis Camposano. Yes, he mentioned Brett Sullivan, but it certainly sounds like they are not done in that catching department, and they're going to look to supplement that position one way or another, whether that's via trade or via free agency. So I thought that was pretty clear from that they are not done with that catching position. I don't know that that's that's not a surprise, because I think we would all agree that they need some more depth there and potentially even a starter there. So we'll see what happens with that. But that was kind of the gist of what AJ had to say that was notable in kind of the ongoings of Monday here at the winter meetings. But yeah, Chris, I know, long answer there. The headline, I think, no doubt, is Sasaki. And I know we've talked about it for a while, but it just makes so much sense for the Padres based on what they need rotation-wise, their relationship to Sasaki, Yu Darvish, and the role he could play. And the elephant in the room is the money and the fact that he would come at a very cheap level.
Sam Levitt joins us here on Gwynn and Chris, 3:44 on the clock. And Sam, I mean, we know AJ is one of the best in the business at saying a lot without saying a whole lot of much.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to do some forecasting as we continue to rest this conversation. You mentioned Roki Sasaki obviously being posted. He is a huge piece, but Padres probably need another one. How do they get there, considering we don't know the constraints of what they'll be able to spend? Possibly a trade, could happen in order to fill that second pitching spot.
Yeah, Tony, I would imagine it's something they're exploring, and that's on the table. Even if you were to land Sasaki, you're right. They could certainly go after another, or I should say they certainly could look to fill that final rotation spot with a guy that's not already in the organization, a guy that's not Matt Waldron, a guy that's not Randy Vasquez or Johnny Brito, or whoever you want to pick. And when you start talking about those things, well, you look at, okay, who's tradable, who would be attractive to teams, where could you free up money? And naturally, I think your mind goes to a guy like Dylan Cease, right, who's in the final year of a contract before free agency. I've thrown the name around Robert Suarez. I mean, again, I don't love living in the land of trading away all-star closers, but when you look at the strength of their bullpen and what they need and the creativity they may have to get to, hey, Robert Suarez has an opt-out at the end of the year. Potentially, he could be a free agent. So, again, I think the takeaway from today, and Tony, it's a perfect question when you talk about the rotation and how they go get pitching. Yeah, I mean, I think the feeling is here that, depending on what the payroll number is, it may mean that AJ's got to get really creative once again. And, we all applauded AJ, and rightfully so, for the job he did last year and how much he hit on. I think it's safe to say, even though the Padres are in a really good spot, like, they've got a lot of talent, and they're starting in a really good spot. And I think people should remember that AJ's going to have to do a similar job. He's going to have to hit on a lot. He's going to have to be very creative. And, in that sense, I think he's absolutely the right man for the job. So we'll see.
Sam is in Dallas at the winter baseball meetings. He will be having his Inside Padre Baseball radio show tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So you baseball fans, make note of that. Sam, what is the buzz there about the signing of Juan Soto? I mean, what are people saying in general? And let me ask you this. Is anybody out there going, oh, my goodness, what are they thinking? $765 million. When will it all end? Where will it all end? Does anybody think this is just an exorbitant amount, or is everybody just kind of accepting this is where the market is now?
Yeah, it's funny. I think AJ and Mike Schilt, when they both spoke today, I think they had a similar kind of facial expression that a lot of us had, which was just the kind of the eyes wide open, like, wow, look. And I think that's what a lot of us here last night have when you hear the number. And then, by the way, I mean, the fact that if he plays through the whole contract, or even if he just gets through the whole contract, it goes upwards of $800 million. I mean, look, I think there's certainly a feeling of it's just an unbelievable number. Now, you can have your opinion in San Diego whether you think Juan Soto is worth that kind of money, if he's a good enough base runner, defender, all those different things to potentially make $800 million. So, look, I think we're all kind of wowed by the number. I will say this, and I say it as somebody, and this is not a New York radio show, but I say it as somebody who grew up in New York. I think just from that sense, like, the fact that the Mets went and basically stole a Yankee of that caliber away, a guy that if you would have went a decade ago, 2 decades ago, there's no way the Mets are stealing Juan Soto from the Yankees. I think it was, again, nothing to do with what happens on the field, but a pretty seminal moment in, like, that city's history and the dynamic between the Mets and the Yankees. And look, it's what people have said about Steve Cohen since the moment he took over the Mets and he owned the team, that he had the financial muscles to go get who he wanted and do whatever it takes to get that player. And my goodness, that's what he did with Juan Soto. So it's an unbelievable number. He's a great hitter. He's a great player. There's no doubt he's gonna be really, really good. But the number is pretty unbelievable. And I think the Padres people who spoke today, Mike and AJ, they sort of had that look much like we had of, it's an unbelievable number, but there was congratulations for Juan as well. I mean, let's keep in mind this is a player they know well. I think from that perspective, like it's just sort of unbelievable. The Padres make the trade for him. We're all wondering at the time of the trade in the first year, he's in San Diego. Okay, are the Padres going to be able to extend him? I mean, let's not forget the conversation when they made that trade. The package was so big that we all wondered, okay, that they're going to try to keep him here forever, right, with what they gave up. I don't know that we could have predicted that the number would be 765, a couple of seasons later. So it's unbelievable. And if he wants to, give me $5 million of it, I certainly wouldn't complain.
That's likely.
He can probably hand out $5 million to each of us.
He'll be fine. Yeah. He'll be totally fine.
No doubt. Sam, we will be catching up with you during the course of the week. Enjoy your stay in Dallas, and we'll catch up again soon.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sam.
Sam Levitt, the great, breaking it down. I tell you what, I mean, it's just funny how things work out. I mean, are we having this conversation if Peter Seidler hadn't, passed away? I mean, you heard talks of that actually happening behind the scenes, but as it turns out,
you mean in terms of Soto might have just stayed here originally,
and we may not even have got to, because remember he gets to the number 765. He gets to 765 because he actually played out free agency. Had he signed anywhere prior to that, you're probably not getting to a number of 765, right? You're taking an extension somewhere, and usually an extension comes early, comes with a little bit of a discount. So we'll never know. He's a Met. Steve Cohen, remember, set out last year when the Ohtani sweepstakes. He said specifically he wanted to wait. Clearly, this is what he was waiting on. He was waiting on the Juan Soto. We'll see how this one ends up paying off for him, but certainly a lot of bread.
It's hard for me to root for either the Phillies or the Braves, but I probably will. That's just me.
Man, you just don't like Juan Soto.
I appreciate him as a ball player. That's why I'm going.
Do you?
No. I don't think you do.
I did say that the funniest tweet I saw this weekend was somebody tweeted out that the Mets just paid all this money for a great right fielder also, and then showed about 10 plays of him in right field kind of messing things up. So there are his detractors out there.
I feel like Steve Cohen...
Chris Solo is the top detractor.
No, sorry, I'm right up there, yeah.
I feel like Steve Cohen put his fan hat on when he signed Juan Soto to all of this money. He did not put his business hat on. You can't tell me.
This ain't a business. See, this is
a fan
This
thing.
is what separates a Steve Cohen from some of these other owners. This is not a business play for him. This is extra for him. And so with the kind of bread he has, he can go out and do, he wants to actually spend his money on the team that he has. And that can't be said for everybody that's out there. Because I do recall many owners having quite the irritation when the Padres were out doing their things. So, I mean, this is I'm sure this is going to be frowned upon by quite a few owners. I will say this, though. The one thing that's not going to happen is you're going to see a boatload of these contracts coming. Yes, Shohei signed for $700.
Back-to-back years over $700 million.
Soto signed for $765.
Who's next?
No one. No one.
Okay.
And I tell you why. And what made Soto's even more unique. Ohtani made perfect sense because he's doing both things that no one else is doing. Soto has a skill that he's better than everybody else, but there are other guys who hit. But he's also 26 years of age. Jeff Passan brought that up earlier today, and that is why the money in the years, we've never seen a 15-year deal, but we've never also had a 26-year-old free agent. It just doesn't happen usually. And so unless Ethan Salas or someone like that comes up at 18 and produces the same exact way we saw Juan Soto, to get to this point, we're not going to see it anytime soon.
Our boss suggested maybe Ellie De La Cruz.
Ellie De La Cruz
has a huge contract.
He's already behind. Yeah. Pick up the pace, Ellie.
Come on, Ellie. Gotta stop striking out, too.
On the other side, 4 o'clock hour, more Gwynn and Chris.
Chris versus the fans.
Hey, look out.
833-288-0973.
We got a new prize today, too.
Indeed.
Coming up at the bottom of this hour, it's back to Dallas, but this time for Monday Night Football, the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. Nothing like a December matchup between 4 and 8 teams to get everybody fired up.
Baby.
Yeah,
I
get you
guarantee
rolling.
you they thought this was going to be a good game before
Yes,
the year.
they did, and it might be a good game. It's just not the records aren't what you might expect. All right, before we get to Christopher's the Fans, a quick congrats. Tony, we talked about it a while ago, but Dave Parker to the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Well-deserved, the Cobra. Also Dick Allen, who I think's a little before your guys' time.
He's a little before my time,
yeah,
for sure.
Early 70s, won the MVP in the American League in 1972 with the White Sox. Had a better, career with the Phillies prior to that. But Dick Allen was a generational slugger. And kind of a character, a la Dave Parker. I can tell you this about both guys. Both guys had pictures of themselves in Sports Illustrated smoking cigarettes. Dave Parker and Dick Allen. Different times, but they were photographed. I think Dick Allen was even on the cover smoking a cigarette. But Dick Allen did do one thing that I don't think's ever been done since. I know it was the first and maybe the only time ever. In 1972, Dick Allen hit not one, but 2 inside the park home runs in the same game.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's impressive. Hit them both off Hall of Famer Bert
Especially
Blyleven.
since he had a schmag before the game started.
He might have had a pack in it. He might have a dart.
I don't even know what a schmag is.
I don't know what schmag, but I'm assuming what it is.
I'm just going to start calling things schmags.
Dick Allen was a character.
Who was the guy who did threw no hitter on LSD? Because I felt like you were going to say Dick Allen was that guy.
No, Dick Allen wasn't that guy. Here's the sad thing, and I know you'll agree with this, Tony, but I mean, Dick Allen passed 4 years ago. He'd already been on the ballot 19 times before his death. If you're going to get him in the Hall of Fame, which they did, couldn't they have gotten him in before he died? I mean, this has happened so many times. It almost seems like after you die, then they're more likely to put you in. And, it happened to Don Coryell in football, many others, but Dick Allen, I think, was a Hall of Famer. And now he was proven today that he's a Hall of Famer. So why not put him in while he was alive to enjoy it? It's too bad.
I think having the committee, the Veterans Committee, I think has been a good thing.
Right, I agree with
Hall
that,
of Fame because
yeah.
Without it, I don't know that a lot of these guys end up getting in, especially the ones who have passed away that, they
don't really have a case to keep making. Exactly. Yeah, so somebody has to make it for him. Dave Parker's had the horrible bout with Parkinson's, and but he had some really, some interesting, not interesting, but I saw some heartfelt comments about getting into the Hall of Fame. One was which to say, I've had my speech ready for over 15 years. He's been waiting.
He's been waiting,
so,
for sure.
Good on Dave Parker. All right.
The Cobra.
The Cobra, yeah. If you want to ever see a strong throw from right field, check out a couple of Dave Parker videos. He could fire. All right, you're going to get a chance here to qualify for a grand prize. And it's a new prize, as Skraby said. 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Hoops Central at the Westgate Superbook. The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations. It's home of legendary Vegas fun. Experience the madness of March as only Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino can serve it up. to you with high-definition screens, luxury seating, table service, and access to all of the best gaming action. Enjoy hoops action from the best up-and-coming stars on giant HD screen, smoke-free environment as you thrill to the games that keep us coming back to college basketball every year. Tickets head to westgateresorts.com. Skraby, away we go.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
By the way, I don't begrudge either Dick Allen or Dave Parker, both deserving Hall of Famers, but them getting in meant that the Garv did not get in yet. Hopefully one day soon for Steve Garvey.
I've heard that Steve Garvey may be too far outside of the bubble to get in. These are what experts I've
bubble.
Like the Hall of Fame bubble.
What is that, like statistically?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like he may not make it.
Well, we'll see.
All right, great conversation.
Well, I don't know what to say to that.
Well, you brought up Steve Garvey. I was just sharing what I read about him. Is that he's just not good enough to get in the Hall of Fame?
Well, they're wrong. He is.
Okay, it's Chris's favorite player.
No, it's not. But he was a Hall of Fame player for 10 solid years, and then more here in San Diego. I think should be in.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Tony? Close, at least.
Close.
It's close.
All right. That means no. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question.
It actually might mean that. Yes.
Each question is going to get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it, and you'll get that first question for free. Chris vs. the Fans is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. You know, Steve Garvey texted me 1,000,000 times leading up to the election. And he his little robo people.
I love how you said that. He texted me personally.
Well, he would say, and he would always be to my mom. Hi, Cynthia. This is Steve Garvey. No, it's not Steve, and you're texting the wrong person. Anyway. That's enough.
Far be it from Steve Garvey ever to agree to come into this studio again. After that,
you're not a Hall of Famer and you texted me too much.
Trying to stick up for the guy, and
Good point.
You're just,
Yeah, good point, Chris.
Maybe
good point.
You're off the chain, man.
Good point, Chris.
Give me the first contestant, please.
Let's go to Tom.
What's up, Tom? Happy Monday to you, my man.
Happy Monday to you three.
Hey, Tom.
right.
Thank you.
Here we go. First question. What college football team is the #1 seed in the college football playoff?
I'd have to say I'm not a huge fan. I should definitely know this, but I'm going to say Oregon.
All right.
You got
it right.
You got it right.
No, you're a good enough fan to know that. You're a good enough fan to know that.
Here we go. Question
Way
number
to go,
2.
Tom.
Which sport did Shohei Ohtani's wife play professionally?
Oh, gosh. I'm going to guess tennis.
Tennis. Elo for the steal.
Stay there, Tom.
Yeah, stay there, Tom. It's either volleyball or basketball. She's tall.
She is tall.
Hoops, basketball. That's my answer.
As soon as he gave the options,
Sorry,
I knew
Tom.
he knew the answer.
Sorry, Tom.
It's like volleyball and basketball. Why those two?
Oh, my
Because they're tall.
gosh. Oh, sorry. That was stupid of me. I don't know why I just yelled into the microphone.
Is there something you want
No.
to share?
Did the Garb just walk in studio, or
Is there
No.
something you want to share?
No, I had a little bit of a not knowing where I was moment there. Ulysses has called in, and Chris and I congratulated Ulysses on how great his name was last week, like 100 times. I know.
I would love to. Sometimes I would want to be in your head to see what's going on. Sometimes I don't.
my
That's
head
one of
hear
those
what
times.
it is? Sometimes it's really frightening.
My head told me to be quiet, but my body said, "Say it."
All right.
Let's go to
Next contestant.
Let's go to Ricardo.
Ricardo, welcome to the show. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, guys.
Hi, Ricardo.
It's me on. Yep.
Ricardo Lakeside.
Oh, Ricardo Lakeside.
All right, here we go.
All right, sir. Good
First
luck.
question. Which pitching coach? Dang, I have to. No, I can use that.
Yeah. No, you can use it.
Which Padres coach is nicknamed the pitching whisperer?
Whisperer.
That would be the guy that just did the interview, Mr. Ruben Niebla.
Very good.
I thought you were
like,
just going
did
to
you
stop.
forget his name?
All right, here we go. Question number 2.
And by the way, he seemed like he liked that nickname.
You said that already.
Yes. Oh, I did.
Who started at QB for the New York Giants yesterday against the Saints?
Oh, I just saw this game too.
Sorry,
I think
you
it
saw
was it Drew Lock?
Hey,
Nice job.
Turned in a mighty performance, so the Giants roll out. Big 11 in the point department.
Oh man,
Not so much.
And they lost the game because the field goal was blocked, right?
I had no interest in that game, so much so that I don't know what happened.
Here we go. Question number 3. There were 2 managers ejected 6 times in 2024. One in the AL, one in the NL. Name them both.
Oh, wow. Gotta get them both?
All right.
Woo.
I think I know one, but I might need Chris to get you wrong because I do not want to any hints.
He doesn't want to give any
he's
hints.
Playing the
Good
game.
thinking.
I
I
like
like the way you're
it.
playing.
Yeah.
All right, that is officially incorrect, but stay right there, Ricardo.
Can't believe it, Ricardo. You didn't know this one. No, I'm just kidding. This is a bit of a shot in the dark because it could be anybody on 6 ejections. I'll say, just for fun, because he cracks me up, I'll say Aaron Boone in the American League and Carlos Marmol in the National. You're a winner, Ricardo.
There's some sort. Tony, you make the ruling.
Wait, what happened? Am I wrong? You said.
Give it to me again.
He said.
He said Aaron Boone, which is correct.
Right.
But then you said Carlos Marmol.
Oh, what is his name?
Not gonna do it.
Oliver Marmol.
All right, fair enough.
You mixed Carlos Mendoza
Wait a
with.
minute.
So I actually got it right, but I said the guy's name wrong.
I think. Oh well, I guess this does play because if he would have just said the last name,
Yeah, I
it would
would've
have
got
stood.
it.
But he did the first name.
Yeah,
Carlos
I think
Marmol was a good closer for the Cubs at one point.
That's who I was thinking.
The
of,
expedited
yes.
review has determined
a very hot.
Chris is incorrect.
Carlos Marmol was a very,
Stay there, Ricardo. What?
What's the word you're looking for?
He was testy out on the mound.
He was
No, I don't know. I have no idea. Oliver Marmol. So I actually got them both correct. That was a total
Well,
stab.
you got the last name
Yeah, I got
correct
it.
for sure.
All right, good for you, Ricardo.
Hey,
You're a
Ricardo.
winner.
Tony
Nice
was the
work.
expedited review eye in the
Stay
sky.
on
not
line.
me
And,
today.
Stay on
listen,
line.
if Chris would have just said Marmol,
No, I
we
think
know
you're
last
right.
names
That's fair.
work.
Fair enough. I'm just happy that I was lucky on that one. I didn't expect.
His strategy
But I don't know why I
almost
thought Carlos Marmol.
His strategy almost backfired on him. He
It
thought,
did, but it worked.
He thought
Nice
Chris
job,
might not
Ricardo.
have it. I like
Yeah.
the way Ricardo played.
How
that
did
right
you
there.
come up with Marmol though?
Because I know he's a lunatic. The guy's a
Really?
kook. Yeah.
I would have said David Bell. if I
He's
didn't
another
know.
one, but
He's a psycho.
Marmol I thought of first, and once I thought of him, I thought, no, I'm going to stay with him
David
because
Bell's
he's crazy.
ejections are just memorable. That's
Yeah.
why you think of him. Because
Marmol is
looks like he's going to murder somebody.
First pitch of the game, I see Marmol bad language on a ball 1 inch off the plate.
I mean, you have to be. Also, Aaron Boone, you have to be a pretty notorious manager to have a fan yell something at the ump and then you get kicked out.
Well, yes, that was for all his shenanigans the year before
my
when he
goodness.
was undressing umpires.
He was like, "You're out of here! I didn't even say anything." But yes, you probably would.
You were thinking about it.
Yeah.
There is, let me see, I'm looking at baseballreference.com. There is actually, there's actually a record here.
Bobby's got to be the
Bobby
record.
Cox with 11 is the record.
In one season, that doesn't seem like a lot.
Doesn't seem like
that's a
much.
lot.
I'm looking for Earl Weaver is who I'm looking for.
11 ejections. by
Earl
the
had
way.
a 10. Earl had a 10. So.
11 ejections is a boatload.
That's one every 6 games.
That's a lot.
That's like basically one every 2 weeks.
Wait, that's one every 6 games.
No, I'm sorry. One every bad math. One every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's
there's
still a
27 weeks.
That's a lot.
So almost one every
I
2
can't
weeks.
even imagine what they just see him go and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to eject you again." Okay.
Bobby Cox made it worthwhile. I mean, he's at the top of every list in managerial.
None of
ejections,
I can't think. Bobby's weren't like short, but they weren't like. He didn't have a whole bunch going on. He was just chewing somebody's, you know what, and then he'd walk off and go
His
take a
language
shower.
was it.
Well, he usually was ejected before he got to the umpire. He was usually ejected from the bench and then made his way out to get his money's worth.
Oliver Marmol, by the way, back-to-back years of 6 ejections. So he's
How many did
consistent.
Schill have last year? I think he had maybe 4.
I would say 3 or 4.
So he was almost on pace with the top. Yeah, I think he had 4.
Schilt's record is, according to this, Schilt's record is 5, which was in 2021. Obviously, when he was with the Cardinals. There's a whole list of all these guys.
That's who Oliver got some of that from. He was up under Schilty for a while there.
Yeah.
You have a team struggling. Things get a little testy.
Yeah, a little, you know what. A little red, you know what. All right, is it me? No, it's you.
All right, well, we got another segment to go. Get you ready for Monday Night Football. Did we get a update on our Survivor pool?
Oh, yes. Yes, I could share the results on the other side.
That and more to wrap things up on a Monday after traffic.
From the 97.
4:22 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Sello, Matt Skraby wrapping up. Bengals, Cowboys coming up next. Got a few minutes with you. You guys catch Bill Belichick on the McAfee?
Oh, you know how often I tune into the McAfee shows, Tony.
I'm becoming a fan of Mr. McAfee.
You
man.
are?
I am.
What do you like about him?
Well, that's good. Then I really don't have to watch now because you'll tell me if I miss anything.
It's far less of the, I think, of the kind of locker room kind of feel to it than I thought it was. It always seemed like it was over the top when you're catching clips here and there. But it's a good show. I like the show. I like his insight, too. But he had Bill Belichick on. I bring it because he had Bill Belichick on, who over the weekend was rumored to have had conversations with North Carolina after they fired Mac Brown.
I think this is a great idea. Chris doesn't think it is.
And listening to him talk, and I didn't know Chris felt that way, so that's probably why he was listening to me when I was talking to him about what Belichick said. And he basically was like, this would be like a pipeline to... Oh, do you have the sound?
I have some of it, yes.
Oh, go ahead then, Scrape.
Let me put this in capital letters. If.
Yeah.
I-F. If. I was in a college program. The college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football, whether that was the end of their college career or at the end of their pro career. But it would be, geared toward, developing the player, time management, discipline, structure, and all that. That would be life skills, regardless of whether they're in the NFL or in somewhere in business. And I feel very confident that I have the contacts in the National Football League to pave the way for those players that would have the ability to have the opportunity to compete in the National Football League, whether they're good enough or not.
Sounds like he's already recruiting kids, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Here's what I think might be kind of cool for college football right now. We talk often about the shift in player and how they're being paid. Who better to understand it than a former NFL coach who is dealing with players who are being paid all the time and still getting them to kind of pull the rope in the same direction.
He might be one of the few guys, a la Phil Jackson when he did NBA coaching, 100%. Could come in and people listen to him without having to earn their respect. I still worry that college kids might tune Bill Belichick out because I think they tune everybody out at this point. They're given so much money and so much,
you have to be a special type of
sway.
Dummy to not listen to Bill Belichick.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of
those. I'm
not
saying,
I think there's plenty
but there
of
are
those.
plenty of kids
right,
that care less who he is.
I think the thing that I find kind of fascinating about it is I'm sure Bill, he's always had the ability, if he were told to go pound sand, to release or cut a player.
He would. He'd show him the door in a hurry.
In college, not sure how that works.
Has anyone actually said that?
Go pound sand.
Go pound sand.
Kick rocks.
Kind of like it. Whoops.
It's like the best you can do without cursing. I think it's like the most potent comeback. Go pound sand.
I can't remember which Patriot said this, but they were asked. A defensive player was asked, "How would Bill Belichick handle a kid coming in to ask for more NIL money?" And the Patriots said, "You're worried about money. Go worry about your history grade."
Sure, Bill.
Well,
had something
Bill,
like that.
I think he would be great.
I don't know how.
I think it'd be a struggle.
Yeah, you think
I
so?
think it'd be a struggle. Dylan Gabriel, Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Ashton Genty. One of those four will win the Heisman.
Those are finalists, huh?
Yeah, those are your finalists.
As I said, Bengals, Cowboys coming up next. We'll have a 4-hour show for you tomorrow.
And more big-time guests, I'm hearing. You guys are really working.
Oh, yes. Tomorrow, White Sox manager Will
guy, Will Venable.
Oh.
Venables.
Yes, and then we'll talk to Sam. We have a lot going on tomorrow as well.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Bye.